Also, another thing you may wish to consider is handing off host to Jose.
Okay, and let's see, Jose, you're going to be here for the whole time?
I will be here for almost all the time except when I'm hanging my laundry.
Okay, well, you are now the host. Hold on, here we go. There we go.
But if he's the host, then he's the only one who can do the breakout session.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
My-
And so also make sure somebody's a co-host in case your Wi-Fi goes down. Always
do that right now.
make sure somebody.
Oh, but Charlie doesn't allow co-hosts.
No, there's we couldn't figure out how to turn that on.
That's in the website settings, but it's too late. This meeting is running, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll get you a plan for that, Charlie, while we're waiting. But unfortunately, there's only one host.
And I think Jose will be fine making the breakout rooms. He's done it once or twice before.
No, it's a matter of, for me, I always have my iPad on as a co-host. And it's been about 2 or 3 times now. All of a sudden, my computer goes down. And, but it's still going on, the meeting. And I just pick up my iPad and talk to the students through the iPad while I reboot my computer.
That's a really good backup plan to have.
So I always have a co-host that's right in front of me.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'm glad we recorded that because that's a great bit of technical
That's a great
advice
idea.
from the Queen of Tech.
Yes.
I am just
Queen Mary.
So just to repeat what I was saying before, I'm very impressed with some software that Leslie Ito made for sort of coordinating extensive reading programs for children. Works by QR codes. You can log all of the books into a database using the QR codes. Students can check them in and check them out via the QR codes. It's very, very simple. Very easy to use. I just not, does anybody remember the name of the software offhand? What?
Lixon or something like
that?
Yeah,
Lixon, Lixon. That's it, Lixon. I'll look for I'll paste the link in later, but it's great software. Once you're back to face if you're doing extensive reading. So Leslie did a great job on that.
Yeah. Actually, one of the topics we need to talk about today is most everyone has some sort of extensive reading program. And how are we managing it? How are we doing it online as well now that we're face-to-face? So extensive reading is a big issue for everybody. So.
Indeed. Okay. Well, I guess let's just jump into it. And I think I'm more like moderating than I am presenting. Though there's a couple of things I can talk about. I'm work much more in adult education than children's education. But these past 6 or 7 months, I do a lot of consulting, and I was brought in on a project to develop a children's English program for a gym that was opening up in Japan. And, basically the idea of teaching English through physical activity, TPR, and movement, focused on teaching high frequency vocabulary, the need to contextualize that vocabulary to make the communication meaningful, to make it student centered. These are all principles I believe in. And my search for experts to help me to build that program led me to both Chiyuki Yanase and Scott Crow. And I think Chiyuki will not be here today, but I can talk about some of the things that she developed, and Scott certainly can talk about the stuff he's developed. But in the process of working with them, I also developed, I'm a corpus linguist and a vocabulary list maker, and I just am in the process of releasing a brand new version of the Dolce list, which is the high frequency words for children. And I can talk a little bit about that. I have a few slides I can share if anybody's interested, but that's maybe my one main contribution. But now, I think I'd just like to open it up for both Mary and Scott to talk about some of the things they've been doing. This transition from face to face to online. We had to make it at the gym, and it worked pretty well. I was surprised how well it worked, and I think Scott, in your schools, and Mary, in your schools, you guys have both made very successful transitions, and just I think a lot of people are looking for ideas and tips about how to do that. So maybe, I don't know, Mary, do you want to start?
Well, I have so much I can talk about. So I could go the entire hour and a half. So Scott, why don't you go ahead and start so I don't overtake what you have to talk about, okay? Mute.
Mute.
Oh
Mute,
dear.
There we go.
I think that was you, Mary. I think you just muted me already just to try and get more in, right? I'm kidding. So I'm in the same boat. Like yeah, I did a seminar of this similar content, and I think yeah, it went like 2 hours over. So yeah, I'll try to bite my tongue as well and just keep things short. So basically the like the essence is like, how do you get the same experience or a similar experience that your kids are having in the class and bring that into an online experience. And so what I did was I tried to do a few things. One of them was to focus on the like the use of high frequency words, and this is sort of what brought Charlie and I together. And I'm using the old man version of the Dolce word list. It's 70 years old now, and so that the word list that I'm using is the old Dolce word list. And so it's the is everybody familiar with the Dolce word list?
I can. I actually have some slides both about the old one and the new one. Whenever you want to talk about that.
Okay, maybe that's a good idea. Is that about how long would that take?
Oh, maybe 5 minutes, 10. You know, like I
Okay,
just have like
let's do
6 or
that
7
first.
slides. Let me share screen and let me see if I can. Okay, so let me get to share screen. This looks like I'm allowed to share screen. Let me just share the correct screen. Boy, oh boy, it's not. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I think probably you're seeing it right now, right? And it says new Dolce
Yep.
list, and this is something that we're just publishing actually this month, so it's brand new. But this is an update of the original Dolce list, and here's a screenshot of the Wikipedia page. So if you want to read a little bit more about it, you can go to Wikipedia later. But the original Dolce list was published in 1936. It's quite an old list, but it was very well done for the time. It's not corpus based. It was just a collection of reading textbooks at the time. And the idea was to identify the most important high frequency words for students, native speakers of English, to develop their reading skills. And it was said, though there's no actual proof, it was said that the 220 Dolce words plus the 95 nouns, it's like about 305 words, covers somewhere between 50 and 75% of the words that students would be exposed to. And so I've made 7 word lists, and most of them are updates of old lists, and the Dolce list was clearly in need of an update. The original Dolce list was more for native speakers rather than non-native speakers, and I noticed that a lot of publishers, a lot of textbooks, a lot of schools are using the old Dolce list, even though the old Dolce list wasn't designed for non-native speakers. And the old Dolce list was developed for developing sight recognitions of words they already knew. So sight recognition means words that are hard to pronounce out and know the meaning from pronunciation, but they're basically words they already knew. The new Dolce list is designed primarily for non-native speakers and to build a basic understanding of words that they're likely to encounter in EFL context. So the purpose is a little bit different, and there's a lot more science involved with this. We built a corpus of 2.5 million words of children's materials, including Ministry of Education textbooks, junior high school, elementary school textbooks, picture books like Cat in the Hat type books, EFL textbooks, and tons of children's YouTube videos. And also you can see there's graded readers in there. There's about 100,000 words of children's graded readers. We identified the most popular YouTube channels for children, and we developed a list. We found that only 128 words of our list gives about 50% coverage of the children's corpus. So that means that's very, very high coverage for a very few number of words. It's said that the old Dolce list offered 70%, even though there's not quite proof for that. But we found that with the same number of words, we're offering about 8% more coverage, 78% coverage. And the list itself that we're publishing is 876 words long, and that gives students 90% coverage of all the words that they're likely to encounter in, watching children's videos, reading children's books, working with children's EFL textbooks. And that list will be up on our website, newgeneralservicelist.org, probably by, within 2 weeks. It's already done. We just haven't uploaded it to the website. So all of my other word lists, which are free and open source, and all of the online learning tools, which are free and open source, they can be found on this website. And the new Dolce list will be, in that genre. Okay, so I'll stop sharing now. Okay, Scott, back to you.
Hello, I'm here again. Yeah, I just don't want you to hear all my rustling around over here. So you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, so what he said. Okay, so so basically, with the challenge with high frequency words is that a lot of the words in the high frequency levels, they're abstract words that if you want to teach apple, for example, you would show an apple. This is an apple. Or if you didn't want to keep a lot of fruit in your classroom, then you would show a picture, a flashcard. If you want to teach a verb, jump, run, you just do the gesture, right? So you just, everybody, let's stand up, let's run, let's jump. And so it's very easy to do that. Now, if you wanted to teach the word important, for example, then if you showed a picture, it would be very difficult to understand, because different things are important to different people. So they couldn't instantly deem what the meaning of the word was based on a picture. Also, you couldn't do a gesture. What would the gesture for important be?
Abstract.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's difficult. So another technique that we could use, another way of teaching we could use is translation. Now we don't do that for young learners, but it's valid. So we could say taisetsu. It's taisetsu. Okay. Now let's just use it. Let's practice in English. So we could do that. Now we don't do that for children, but it's a valid way of teaching adults and such, and they can do that on their own. So then you get to another word. So little pop quiz, what would be the most used word in the English language? Yes, Charlie. I'm glad you know. Da. Thank you, Lulu. Exactly. So the most used word in the English language is the. All right. So you show up, what would the picture be to represent that word, right? What would be the gesture that you do for that? Now, let's say you try to translate it. Okay, じゃあ the はね、一応日本語では存在してないんだけど、で、名詞の前に来る。でも、代わりにたまにあとanも来る。どうしよう Right? We can't even translate it. You can't even explain the damn thing in Japanese, right? Like they'll just be like, well, why do you even have that word? It's so weird. But so, to adults, we may be able to take 45 minutes and explain it in all its different uses. But to kids, they would just be running around bashing their heads into walls as you're doing that. So the question is, how can you get young? Yeah, thank you. Italian, you got three of them, right? So basically the question is like, how can you get young learners to use these words as a native speaker would in a natural way without having to go into any explanations that you would use for an adult. So if you ask a Canadian child, okay, you just said, let's go, I want to go to the bathroom. You said the. What does the mean? I don't know. Well, why did you say it? I just did. Okay, then, fair enough. So they don't even know, even native speakers don't know what the means, but they can use it a lot. So what I wanted to do was to incorporate the use of these high frequency words into some kind of an online material that could get the kids wanting to use these words without it being feeling unnatural to them, feeling like they're just doing it because I want them to do it. So that was one issue that I had, and so I tried to build that into various things. And I'll show you what I came up with. But first, I'd like to just show you one thing that's just a silly warm-up thing that I just like to do. And so basically, I'll say to my students, "Hey guys, I'm and then my students will I'll say, "Am I sleepy? Am I sleepy?"
No.
No. So then my students, they'll ask me, "Are you thirsty?" And I'll be like, "Yes, I'm thirsty. So may I have a cup, please? May I have a cup, please?" Everyone, let's all say, "Here you are."
Here you are.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Hey, you have a cup for me. How about you, Marianne? Marianne, may I have a cup, please?
Here you are.
Oh, there's one from Charlie. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh, what? That's not a cup. What? It's a net. Oh, okay. No, I want a cup. May I have a cup, please?
Here you go.
Oh, let me see. Okay, I'm taking it. It's what? It's a bug. That's not a cup. Guys, I want a cup. Come on, please. A cup, please.
Here you go. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yay, a cup. Thank you very much. Now, may I have some juice, please? Now, you can choose any juice. It's okay. So you can say, have some
Wine.
apple juice. Wine. Yes, I need it now, even though it's the morning. Thank you. So then my kids would start to use their own ideas, and because I suggested a fruit, they will likely stay in the fruit box and say, have some apple juice, have some banana juice, have some strawberry juice. And then once they've gotten used to this activity, which I'll do a few times, then I'll throw in a new something to open up the parameters of their imagination. So if they're only choosing fruit, then in a few weeks I'll say, okay, may I have some tomato juice? Ooh. And so then you'll see their eyes go a little wide. Wait a minute, I didn't know we could choose other things. And then I'll say, have some tomato juice, have some, and then they'll just start trying to say all the vegetables they know, have some carrot juice. So I'll let that go for a while. And some kids will stick with the fruit. Some kids will go into the vegetables. And then I'll make comments like, it's good, or it's not good. And then I'll add a third element of ultimate freedom. So I'll say, may I have some shoe juice, please? Shoe juice, please. And so then again, the kids are like, what? I didn't know we could go there. And so then it just opens the box to all of the things that they know. So they could say, have some dog juice, have some house juice, and it just opens up the Pandora's box of imagination and allows them to use as much as they have in their heads. So that's one way of sort of creating the impetus for spontaneous language use of pre-taught language. and that's just a fun way. I call it the magic screen. I have a magic screen, right? And so, you know, in my I'm not in my classroom now, but in my classroom, I've got like chickens, like plastic chickens, and you know, all kinds of stuff. So it's just, you know, it's so funny for them when there's just all these. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go, there you go, there
It
you
works.
go.
It works great. I mean, you know, just anything thrown from off screen on screen, the kids love. I mean,
Yeah.
it works. It makes it feel a lot more interactive, even when it's online. I think it's a good online trick.
Yeah. What is that?
Croissant? No.
Oh, I think you're muted.
So, using things that look like they're real. You're right. And you can hand them off. That's
Yep.
right. Right. I love broccoli, which is one of the greatest songs there is. Ice cream broccoli, chocolate. What was that? What's that song?
Yeah, is that super simple one?
Yes, it is. The broccoli
Yep,
song.
yep. I don't like. Yeah, and that brings up a good point there. Like, I was taking objects and having students give them to me, but never. Here's the best advice I could give: is never ever underestimate the power of a child's imagination.
Yeah.
Because you may fail the first time because they don't understand the context of what we're doing. So, you know, if you hand them that broccoli, everyone will be like, all right. But then you say, everybody, look, watch me.
And then they get it.
Then they'll get it. Yeah. And so then you can hand them stuff, and then they'll take it, and they'll eat it. And then you can ask them, was it good? Was it bad? What do you think, guys? And you can interact with the kids that way.
Well, Scott, I
Yep.
I don't know if you'll have time for this, but I would love if you could maybe share one of your like sort of interactive PowerPoints, because you know,
Okay, yeah.
you've sort of made the transition. You know, I think contextualization of vocabulary is very important, and I think Scott has done a really great job of teaching through storytelling and contextualizing through storytelling, and he does that in face-to-face lessons in a way that's very impressive. But as we had to make the transition from face-to-face to online, I was kind of amazed at how well it transitioned, how well it worked, how much the students got it. And so, I mean, I just, you know, you're explaining it, and this is great, but if you can demonstrate maybe one of them, you know, one of those PowerPoints, I think they're great.
Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Oh, good, I can. That's great. So what I've got, I'll just show my setup before I share my screen here. So I've got my iPad here. Sorry, it's my iPad, and so basically the idea is that with the keynote, what you can do is you can put there's a lot of, I'm sorry, I'm talking about Keynote, but this also applies to PowerPoint. And so what you do is you use they have the motion features in the app itself. So what you do is you take your story, and then with the story, you just cut out the characters or whatever, and then put them, and then just move them around. Okay, and so what I'm gonna show you here, it's starting the slideshow, it says so. Wow. It's now done the same thing for me. Okay. Mary, why don't you go ahead and then
Okay.
I'll just get
Yeah,
stuff here.
and I can even talk a little bit about chipmunks yoga in English as well, if need be. But I mean, Mary, I think Mary, you have a lot to share with us. So maybe, why don't we do that? And I'm really interested in all of the things that you're doing, Mary, and we can do that, and then maybe at the end we can come back to Scott once he's got the technical issues worked out.
Okay, great. Pin my video here. And so I started going online in February. I was probably one of the first ones to do it, especially with private lessons. Of course, this is before I started learning about Zoom with OTJ. I was doing it with Facebook, FaceTime, Skype, Line Talk, anything. And Zoom has just been so great for me. Today I have many things. My paper here is not so much because I didn't know how much time I was going to have, but probably one of my biggest things was I wanted to try to keep the students' lessons as normal as possible. Instead of bringing in a lot of different apps that the parents would have to learn, I actually tried to keep them working with their textbooks, going through their textbooks, doing their workbook, doing their homework, and everything. The parents felt that they were continuing their education that way. I wasn't jumping to something brand new that the parents really didn't understand why I was doing things. So I teach everything from 3 years old up to high school. And I also teach at a university. I do teacher training courses at the university too. So today, I will talk about some things that I had to adjust for the younger kids versus the older kids. I just look around here. I guess one of the issues for anybody who's been teaching young people on Zoom is they have attention, the ability to listen for about 5 minutes. They really can't go on and on and on with one thing unless there's action, unless there's things that are going to be, they're expecting something new to be happening. And so I instigated something that I called, hello, hi, wait, who's there? I didn't see this. Huh? Who's that? Does anybody know? Oh, there he is. Oh, look, I have my study buddy. What's his name? Pikachu. No. Mickey Mouse. No. Anybody, what's his name? Do you know? I forgot. I wrote it. No, I didn't write it down on this one. I have him everywhere. Yeah. Does anybody know what's his name? No. Oh my gosh. Just a minute, guys. Look. What's up here? Wait. What is it? Oh, come here. Here. Wait. Double? Do you say two? It's a little friend and a big friend. Yay. What's his name? All the kids know. I've forgotten. Little.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Oh, they all know them. And big. So my lessons are 1 hour. And about halfway through, I have what I call my study buddy. And all my students had to come to class, Zoom class, with a study buddy. I have found that the younger the children are in this time of learning and studying through a small K-tie or Zoom, for some especially, they're just like so nervous and their eyes are just like, And I found it relaxed them if they came with a buddy and they came with a friend. So about halfway through, I would do what I called my study buddy TPR, study buddy action. So I would tell everybody, hurry up, everybody stand up, go get your study buddy. Where is he? Oh, I forgot. Well, hurry up, run, go to your bedroom, get your study buddy. I even had a snake come in. Luckily, it was a plastic snake. But anyway, so I had my study buddies. Then I would tell the students to stand up. Everybody, come on, stand up. You have your study buddy? Yeah? Okay. Everybody has a study buddy. Well, oh, everybody, are you ready? Let's play. Throw the study buddy. Everybody, throw. Catch. And oh, I can't hear you. Come on, everybody, ready? Throw. Catch. And all the students would be repeating after me. You guys aren't very good at repeating, but I would have them. Okay, everybody, study buddy, up, down, up. Where are you? Oh, hi. Up, down. And then, okay, study buddy, to the right. Remember, your camera has to go opposite. To the left, up, down. Study buddy, in, out. Yeah, oh, your study buddy. I like your study buddy, Jose. That's right. So I always had the kids with a study buddy. And so I knew they had something that they could then move around. And it wasn't very scientific. Yes, there's apps out there. There's YouTubes. I could have had them, I could have brought in a YouTube and the kids just continue sitting, or they do something that somebody else created. But the 1 hour lesson is short. And I didn't want to spend any more time than I had to go in and find an YouTube, action, songs. There's a lot of different things. So I just found this study buddy, throw the study buddy worked really well. And so study buddy is something that works great. Did anybody else do anything out there in the way of action? I'd like this to be a workshop where people share what you're doing in this same category. So anybody doing any action in your classes? Yeah. Actually, yep. For me, I learned very quickly. I really would not allow anybody to come into the class without their picture. Because I need, as a teacher, I need to see their faces to see their reaction. And so right now I'm looking at just a lot of photographs.
No, but I think that's absolutely true. I mean, I think that having the kids have their cameras on, and I think that this is the whole, idea behind what Scott and I were trying to build together too, is very interactive, getting the students to learn through physical activity. It's sort of a much more advanced version of TPR that goes beyond just simple mimicking actions, but more contextualizing in the context of stories, but involving physical movement. And I think that to the extent that students are moving and interacting, a lot more learning takes place. Oh no, that's a cute stuffed animal, Teresa.
Just want to remind everybody that if you do want to participate, I will be watching the chat for any questions or important comments. And if you like, you can raise your hand by clicking on the raise hand button, the bottom left of the participants list. And then I'll be able to see who wants to say something. Okay, everyone go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say for the TPR thing, if you did try TPR or if you tried to get the kids moving or doing some kind of TPR type interaction and it didn't quite go, so you gave up on it, I would suggest starting with like what Mary was doing with simple, easy to understand movements first, and do those every time, even if they're not connected to the TPR that you're doing. So I'll get everybody, okay, everybody, let's all jump, 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 run, and then run around in a circle. And then that is, you know, generally they're good with jumping. So if you get them started by jumping first, then you can go into more detailed, you know, curriculum. Hey, in the curriculum, the TPR that's in your curriculum.
Yeah, yeah. And one step beyond the jump is that I have millions of these little balls I got from the 100 yen store, and I use them in many different ways. I use them in class, especially. I'll bring in a big Costco bag of them and throw them all over the floor. And I'll tell everybody, okay, everybody, go get a yellow ball. Well, they can do this at home. Get something yellow and then throw the ball 10 times. And I want to hear you. So I have the kids up and they're going 1, 2, 3. And if it falls on the floor, they have to start again. And a next stage is, okay, in 1 minute, how many times can you throw the ball? Or can you throw the ball and say the alphabet? A, B, C. I attended Jeffrey Archer's workshop about 30 years ago. Archer, is that it? Silent Way? The
Silent Way. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was very lucky. I attended a workshop for 1 week with his system, and having something to take the pressure away from the students actually just talking to a friend or partner or a screen, by just having something, cursionary rods or the balls have worked really well. So having them moving is something important. In the classroom, they will do it with a partner often. A, B, C, D. So I try to take all these normal activities I do when I'm in face-to-face and put it into an online thing. And so it was quite a challenge for me to bring the fun into the classroom because we couldn't do it. It's not on Zoom, but as soon as we're talking February, when it started up here, I went to the local home center and bought children's size white gloves, the Guten gloves. And it was still nice and cold here. And then I could let them touch my things. And especially if they were plastic, then after the class, everything got sprayed down. So by having a bag full of gloves that I then washed afterwards was a real important thing.
You know, I just want to jump in with one thing. Maybe both of Mary and Scott can talk about this. But I was part of a session last night on student voice, and I think a lot of us are trying to make our online lessons, you know, more interactive, more student centered, more, you know, students getting their ideas and opinions out there. And one thing, you know, I've observed Scott do, and I even observed you do a little bit just right now, Mary, is the idea of, you know, if the teacher is leading and using a TPR kind of a technique, something with physical movement, often on purpose getting things wrong, you know, saying the wrong object or doing the wrong motion, and then, you know, leaving it to the students to correct the teacher, and basically as a stepping stone, not just for the correction, but for the students to be more active and to take charge. And I think both of you are doing this sort of naturally, but I think this fits in with this idea of student voice. And I wonder if you might have any comments or techniques to share about that.
Yep. I think the key is to have something that is predictable and a routine, especially when you're dealing with TPR. So all my TPR, I build it into the storyline. So as an example, one of the TPRs would be, oh, I'm sleepy. Should I go to the kitchen? No, go to the bedroom. Okay, let's go together. And in the story, there's a spider that kind of like scares the little boy. So this is part of that storyline. So okay, everybody, let's all stand up. Let's go to the bedroom. And then my kids chant after me, go to the bedroom. Sleep.
I'm standing up
Wake
for a second. I need to stand
Hey,
up.
then open, and then so let me do that one more time. Go to the bedroom. Sleep. Wake up. Climb on the bed. Climb on the bed. Open the window. Open the window. Look outside. There's a spider. Run away. Ah! And then we all run away. So the kids, we do this TPR routine several times, and then I start to make some ridiculous mistakes. That the key though is that they can't be too close in the beginning. So if you say, let's climb on the pillow. Well, yeah, I guess I could be climbing on that pillow. So it has to be something very, very, very different. So I suggest words that are the same in Japanese. For example, banana, potato. These are words that they know very well, and so they can easily recognize that it's definitely wrong. So go to the bedroom, sleep, wake up, climb on the banana. And then the students will say, no, climb on the bed. So they'll say with emotion, right? No, climb on the bed. Now you notice that in this sentence, we have climb on the bed. Okay, so we've instantly built in the number one most used word in the English language, and they didn't even know that they're using it, but they are using it in a fun and emotionally engaging way. So that's my point to that.
Charlie?
Yes.
I don't want to monopolize anything, especially I'm not really primarily a kids teacher anymore, but when I was a kids teacher working at a yochien, one of the things that I would bring with me to the yochien, it was a yochien, was a Mr. Potato Head.
I have 100 of them.
Yeah. And as these kids were in that part of my lesson plan where they were learning body parts, especially, Mr. Potato Head parts, I would specifically tell them to take Mr. Potato Head and put, how it stacks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I would tell them to stack the body parts in completely the wrong order. And I would get it back from them. And I would say something like, ears, nose, mouth, something ridiculous, right? And I would get the Mr. Potato Head back from them. And I checked to make sure that they got it in the right order that was wrong that I gave them. And I said, and they would love it just because they just wanted that reaction from me, but they wouldn't get that reaction from me if they didn't get it in the wrong order, which was correct. And then eventually I would just remind them that the right order was great. Then I would take Mr. Potato Head, I'd give them a nice little belly rub or something and give them back to the kids. So they didn't know what the parts were, but they just wanted to get that reaction out of me, right?
Yeah, well, I know I use Mr. Potato Heads here in my school. And so I have like up to 11 kids at a time, and I'll give everybody a body part. And then I open up the body part store. Yeah. And I have them all over the table. I review them. And then the kids come up and they have to ask me, can I have an orange nose? And then I give them the orange nose. And then the next group comes up. Can I have And so they build their Mr. Potato Head one at a time, but they have to ask the question, can I have? Can I have? And then after they have built their body part, their Mr. Potato Head, then I have them take some paper or their notebook. And at this stage, they then draw a picture of their Mr. Potato Head that they created themselves through using verbal, asking for them. They just don't come in and create anything without any English being used. So they draw the picture, and then as homework, they have Well, all of my students have a Longman Picture Dictionary or an Oxford Kids Picture Dictionary. And so all of the students have that. And so their homework was to take their picture of Mr. Potato Head that they had drawn and label all the body parts. Okay. And then the next stage, especially for third grades up, is actually to write an essay about their Mr. Potato Head. And so I tried, because my school is clear up to Jukansei, and I have my students get into some of the best universities in Japan. And so I'm starting to teach writing from about third grade, and not writing words, but writing sentences, writing paragraphs. And so by taking Mr. Potato Head, that's how I can do something for very young students. Yeah. And Jose, let me tell you, I couldn't do something like that with my kindergarten classes because I have 125 in a class. So would not work for my kindergarten classes. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was only about 30 kids.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So that was my study buddy idea. So one of the important things for me was to continue using their textbooks as much as I can. And before I had my daily routine always the same. And I kept the routine just as if they were coming to face-to-face lessons. And the routine is always, everybody sit down. Well, now it's wash your hands first. Sit down and get out your small file. This is not B5. It is a A4 half. So A5 or A6. So it's a much smaller file than they have. All of my students from kindergarten up get a small file that builds through the year. Okay, and yeah, I'm still pinned, aren't I? Okay, that's one thing I discovered very quickly is I sometimes thought the students were seeing me in the big picture, and then actually they had either gallery view on or they had the other view where the only person they were seeing was whoever was making the most noise, not talking, most noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized that they often were not seeing what I was looking at. And that's another reason I always had my iPad on as another student in the class, so I could glance down and make sure that what I thought they were seeing was what I was showing. So anyway, here is a file that a student, Taisei, forgot here last year actually. And they used it for many years. And so within it, I have a booklet that I print out every year. I created a long time ago, actually, 35 years ago is when I started this system. And other people have taken it on and published a system, but I'm definitely the first one who used it. And anyway, so I recreate this every year. It has their stamp page where every week that when they come in, they get a sticker and they have to write the date. It teaches them the months of the year, the days, first, second, third, fourth. And from first grade up, they're doing this. So they write the date and they get their stickers for every week. And then we will go into Q&A time. And this is actually where I'd like to do a screen share very quickly. And let me tell you, I'm doing so many screen shares every week.
Ooh, oh, there she is.
Yeah, don't look at my desktop. Jose, I actually followed your advice and cleaned it up once. Once. And it has just gotten so.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's like me and my floor. I haven't vacuumed in, I think, since February.
Since February? Oh, here, actually, I'm gonna do this one.
Yeah, around that time that virus came.
Well, I have acute asthma, and let me tell you, my room gets vacuumed a lot. So I learned very quickly to do the advanced share, not just whatever is there. And that way they actually were seeing a bigger version of whatever it was. And this is, I created it with pages. And so when I open it up in pages, every page I'm looking for is there. And so I come down here to basic questions 1, and I'll tell the students, get out your small file, open it up to basic questions number 1. This page has 13 questions on it, and it goes clear down to here. Let's see, it actually also has an area where they can write down the Japanese meaning of the WH words they absolutely need to have. And this actually is the one for the junior high kids, maybe? Yeah, this is the junior high one. Of course, the elementary kids questions are simpler, but not so different. For the junior high, instead of what's your name, it's what's your full name. The second question here is for the junior high kids, what's your best friend's name? For the elementary kids, what's your mother's name? And so I took the vocabulary that they were familiar with and put it into your basic questions. Junior high kids files are for how old will you be on your next birthday for the junior high first year students. What's your cell phone number? When is your birthday? And on the, so all the basic questions here, depending on the children's age. What I found after many years is whether it's the junior high level or the first graders level, question number 1 is a name question. Question number 2 is also another name question. Number 3 is how old are you, or how old will you be? So the questions are all in the same order, no matter what their level or grade. In the file, I printed this out on A4 paper at the side mode so that I just had to fold. And so the questions and answers are here directly across from each other. And so the question answer page is on the next one. So when we went into Zoom in April, we spent quite a bit of time, more than I normally would ever do, on them filling in their answer pages, because it was something they had been doing for years or the year before. So they were very confident in this. It wasn't something new. And so we always have our Q&A time at the beginning. And so in this file, it actually goes up to basic question 1, basic question 2, which are at ACAN 5 level, basic question 3, which is at ACAN 4 level. And then that's all I took it up to. By ACAN 3 level, which actually a lot of my 8th graders do, they pretty much, it's just too many questions for something like this. And so one activity that has been so successful, especially for the kids who have been with me for many years, which is quite a few. I have about 150 students in my school, and on average, the kids stay for 8 to 9 years. And so they do the basic questions year after year after year. They get really good at it. And so what I found is from about May or so, I just started doing breakout rooms. And it was unbelievable that my 5th graders, 6th graders that sometimes will fool around, as soon as I put them into breakout rooms and told them to, okay, I want you to rock, scissors, paper, the winner asks the first question, loser, you ask the second question, and question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. So they had the opportunity to practice their questions just with their good friends. And they would do it because I had my iPhone always connected as a student and my iPad. And so when I did breakout rooms, I often would put one of these two devices in a breakout room with the kids just to make sure. And after a few times, I realized I didn't have to worry about them going into breakout room and fooling around. They did it. And I was just so proud of them. And connected with this one last thing is I started doing what I called speed reading. And I would set my phone, the clock on my phone, and I would say, okay, I'm going to start the clock, read all the questions. How many minutes does it take you to read the questions? And they, again, these questions, I'd only do this like third grade on because they've done these questions so many times. I had some of my third, fourth graders who were able to read all 14 questions in about 20 seconds. It wasn't how many minutes, it was how many seconds they could read them all. And because they were in their own homes, they were reading them out loud so I could hear everybody. And if I didn't hear a voice, I'd go, Mijo, I can't hear you. Mary's old, she has bad hearing. Come on, Miyu. Big voice, Miyu. And but the speed reading worked so well with the basic questions. And the kids who were even having trouble started getting faster and faster and faster. Any questions about doing Q&A or questions in your classes?
I was actually going to ask a question about breakout rooms. I love breakout rooms. I think it's a fantastic function, but I'm usually using it with teacher training. So mostly, obviously adult learners. And I was just wondering, is there like sort of a lower age limit, for breakout rooms? I mean, I've seen, fantastic lessons, at the like 7, 8, 9-year-old level. But I was just wondering, as you go down further below that, is there a certain point where it's just breakout rooms become too difficult?
I've had down to my first graders, elementary first graders. And especially in April, the very first breakout room was chat with your friend in Japanese. For teachers of children, one of the issues we are dealing with that, yes, you're dealing with it at the university level, but we're also dealing with isolation issues. And they're not seeing their friends every day. They're not going to elementary schools, or they weren't. And so they were just getting so isolated. And so seeing their friends. And so I experimented, the first experiences was simply just learning how to open the breakout rooms, and then there's their friends. And then at first it was like, and very quickly, the kids have a pretty good gift of gab, because my school is different than maybe Scott's or other people's in that a lot of my kids have known each other since birth. They almost all went to the same kindergarten. And so by the time they're first graders, they've already been studying English for 3 years. And so when they saw their friend's face, even through Zoom, they were all like, hi! And they started having no trouble talking to each other. And then when I switched over to using breakout rooms to throw the ball, or, it just all depends what level. There was no problems at all.
Cool.
Scott, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the speed reading thing is it's a fantastic just does it the timing thing. It just timing something just suddenly adds an element of drama. Some kind of like, okay, go. And you can do this very, very low tech style. Like, I mean, just hold up the timer on your
hold
iPhone.
up a big timer. A big timer works great. Yeah.
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 Oversized timer.
I've always been wanting to get one of those. I haven't bought it yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
So I've got my stuff. I think I'm. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say we're at about 11:12 right now, and I'd like, if Scott, if you've got the technical stuff worked out, maybe to give you a few minutes to show us some of your stuff, and then at least leave a few minutes for questions. I personally won't be able to stay much beyond 11:30 because I'm presenting at 12 as well. Scott, do you think you're ready to show us some stuff?
I really hope so. I'm just sharing now. And there we go. And
Oh, so why Scott is getting this ready, the one thing I really want to stress to everybody is that the secret of all this was like my students all had their small files at home. And so it made it so easy because they did have it available. I was really freaking out in March when I ordered all their new textbooks for those who needed them. And I didn't know if we were going to start back to face-to-face, and was I going to have to pay for books sitting in a classroom here? And so I was so thankful we came back for 1 week. I was able to give them their new books. And so they were able to work with everything. And all I have to do is say, open up your textbook to page 60 or whatever. So having the materials in their hands was important. Are you ready, Scott?
Yep. Here we go. Okay. So this is so basically what I did is I took some characters in a story and I just cut them all out, and then I just sort of put them in line within the storyline here. So the beginning one, depending on the student's ability, I would either read it for them or have them read it. So and it's kind of organized in the flow of an English lesson that we would normally do in our kids' classes. So character comes in, how are you? I'm great. How are you? I'm sleepy. So then we can ask the kids, okay, Ted is sleepy. Should he go to the kitchen? And then kids are like, no, go to the bedroom. Okay, Ted, let's all say to Ted, go to the bedroom.
Go to the bedroom.
Okay.
Go to the bedroom.
Yay, go.
Okay. Do. Hey, and he's gonna go to the bedroom. Yay. Okay, everyone. What's your name? I'm Tig. What's your name? I'm Ted. Yay. And so all these things are just, it's really the quite basic, just bringing in objects, making them appear. So you can really just take most stories and then even if you just use screenshots of and download the JPEGs, you can build most stories into something like this quite easily. And then so he asks his little teddy bear, which is a tiger, which one do you want, a big bed or a small bed? A small bed, please. Okay. And so I then bring that into my kids' lives, and I say, okay, guys, so kids, do you want a bed? And then they all say, yes, please. Okay, so which one do you want? A big bed or a small bed? And then they choose their beds, and then I'll ask them afterwards, okay, so Keita, what kind of bed do you have? I have a big bed. Okay, how about Jonathan? I can't think of any Japanese kids' names right now. How about Jonathan? I have a small bed. And so the kids will say the different types of beds they have. And so then after that, then I'll encourage them to expand on that. And I'll say, okay, well, everybody, I want a really, really big bed. And again, all the kids will they'll be like, I want to change. Change, okay? Change, okay? And I'm saying, okay, yes, sure. So what kind of bed do you want? I want a really, 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 really big bed. And so as you can imagine, kids will say really about 160 times. So we do have to put a cap on that. So I'll just say, you know, maximum 3 reallys, because they do start to expand a bit too much. So here, the focus is the adjectives. And so whenever you want to get kids to talk more, giving them or a choice, like an or type choice. Do you want A or B? Because if we say, do you want, it's like having a teenager as a child, right? Hey, how was school? Good. Yeah, so what did you do today? Nothing, right? So it's kind of hard to encourage longer sentences, but if you use or questions, there's no choice. They have to say that what you want them to say. So for example, you could say, do you want a big bed or a small bed? You have to say big bed or small bed. Do you want to go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen? They have to say go to the kitchen, go to the bathroom, or at best, I want to go to the bathroom, I want to go to the kitchen. So giving or choices, really, I thought that was one of the best things that I did with the online stuff. And so then what I do in my regular lessons, I do a kind of like a Pictionary game. So I wanted to show them this Pictionary type game in a digital format. So I just drew this horrible cat. And so he says, look, what is it? Is it a cat? Yes. Okay. And then what I would do is I'll go off out of my the story, and then I would use my
iPad,
whiteboard, and then I'll draw a picture, and then the kids would just emulate what they just saw, and then they would ask me, is it a dog? Is it a cat? Nope. Do. And then they would all be asking, is it a fox? Is it a no. And so then obviously inspiring lots of different questions. And so what Mary said that was fantastic, and I think it's so key to building the culture of speaking online, is that you want to use your students' names a lot, right? So using their names online, having them and noticing, even just noticing your students when they're looking away or something.
Yes.
Like if there's a student who's looking away, I'll say, oh, Keita, hello, I see you, right? And then, so then he'd be like, oh, wait, wow, this is real. Okay, I got to pay attention here. And then one thing that is very important, but very simple, is the idea of our human connection. So our tendency as a teacher is to look at what we're teaching. So right now I'm looking at my screen, or I'm looking into Teresa's eyes. I'm looking into your eyes, but you know, you can't see me looking into your eyes because I'm actually looking into your eyes on my screen. So look at the difference between this. I'm looking at you, but now I'm looking at you. So it's very different. So remember, when you want to look into, when you want to create a more human connection, make sure you're looking at your camera. Feels very unnatural, but it's very good in establishing the feeling that I'm talking to you now, all of you, right? So that's a good way. And so I thought that when Mary said, you know, you want to name address that someone's not using a big voice, say their name. I care about you. I want to hear your voice. That really is a very big thing. And looking into the camera when you do it will help them feel that you're connecting with them more personally. And so that's kind of like the Pictionary game. And I do a live version of that as well, which I won't do because I'm sure you can imagine what that would look like. And I think we've had enough acting like children for one day. So here, So this one, this is, if you have an iPad, you know, if you have an iPad and there, you know, Keynote comes with iPad. Keynote is the PowerPoint app, right? And so Mary, you're gonna love this if you haven't done it already. If you take what this is it's just I typed an A, and then I just imported the image, and then I touched the image, and then it says animate, and then you can just draw with your finger the path that you want your picture to walk on. It's amazing, and I'll show you what it looks like now. And I just added some music. So I wanted to do the kakijun, like the stroke order. So I'll tell all my students, okay, everybody, let's take our fingers and let's follow the ant. Here we go. Yay. So that's an
Nice.
ant.
Wow, that's nice.
Yay. And look, guys, let's follow the bee. Follow the, ooh, I don't want to touch the bee, but let's touch the bee. Ready, go. It's a bee. Yay. And a cookie. So you see, and that once I figured out the trick to just touching the image and then drawing it, it's it's amazing the how quickly you can do something that actually looks it looks pretty cool, right? So yeah, so it doesn't take a lot of time to do these kind of things. So there's my fan.
Scott, was
Yes.
this something you had to have a newer iPad to do it? Because like I have two iPads, neither of them use the pencil. And
I don't use a pencil to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just use your finger.
Okay, because okay.
Just give it a try. When you hop off, just get a picture, get a in Keynote you can write text, right? So you just write some kind of text, import an image, and then once the image is in the Keynote, just one tap and you'll get the pop-up screen, and then it might say more. If it says more, tap the more and you'll see it says animate.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if you tap the animate, you can you can make it walk all over the screen.
Sure,
you can do whatever you want. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So
I
you
use the animate a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we can all be animators. Woo! Okay. So this is my TPR. So what I did was I built I just put this it looks fancy, but it's you can just take your verb flashcards and just make a series of these. I like to build it into the storyline. So this is the character, go to the bedroom, go to the bedroom. Oopsie. Sleep, wake up, look on the lamp. And he finds this magic pad so he can write letters and they become real animals. Write A, write B, run away, ah! And then, so then what I would do is have the students act it out there. So I would turn off my sharing, and then I would say, okay guys, let's do it together. Let's all stand up and let's go to the bedroom. Sleep, wake up. Then I'll say, okay, now, you guys, now it's your turn. No teacher help. Ready, go. And so then they would do it. Now, one thing I tried is having one student guide other students. And so this works very well in real lessons where one student becomes the teacher. Suddenly, all the other students are more willing to do whatever I was trying to make them do. And it's kind of unfair, but hey, that's life. So students are more willing to sort of engage when another student is guiding them. So once they've memorized the dialogue, or sorry, the TPR story, then they can tell the story, and then other students will act it out. And so that's one fun thing that I found was really good with the TPR. So I think we're kind of running out of time here. I do with your keynotes and PowerPoints, you can always put in songs.
Track 35.
Okay, so this is a simple one.
Go away, go away, go away, ant. Go away,
Who's
go
singing,
away.
Scott?
Yeah. So I won't poison you with any more of that. But so the idea there is what I wish I had done is put a like I did with the writing one, to put some kind of a ball there so they can see the words of the song, because sometimes getting the kids to sing is a bit challenging with online. So having the words on the screen, I felt it helped them to really get out of their shells a bit more. And I'll just show you this last one, and then maybe I guess everybody has to kind of get going, but I'll show you this last one. This is prepositions. And this one was very, it was a big hit too. And you can do it very easily by placing two objects and then using the Keynote to put the objects behind them, Keynote or PowerPoint. And so, so here it goes. So he writes on the pad and then he gets scared. Ah! Okay, guys, Ted is scared. Oh no, there's a bee and there's an ant. Oh no. So guys, where is the bee? Is it behind the bed or behind the lamp? Where is the bee?
Behind the bed.
What's that? Behind the bed? Yes. Okay. And so bing, 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 yay. And so then one thing that I'm doing a lot, which I can't do now with you guys because it's very uncomfortable for everybody to just pretend to be chilling on a Friday morning. But the thing that I'm doing is recasting. Okay, and so recasting is a very natural thing that we do as parents when we're raising our own children. So for example, our child would say to us, hey, so we'll say to our child, hey, so what do you want to do today? And they say, I go store. Oh, you want to go to the store? Yes. Okay, let's go. Then 2 months later, hey, what do you want to do today? I want go store. Oh, you want to go to the store? Yes. Okay, let's go. Then 4 or 5 months later, I want to go to store. Oh, you want to go to the store? Yes. Great. And then finally, they'll come up to you and they'll be, hey, Daddy, I want to go to the store. Okay, let's go. So that process is called recasting, where we as parents will naturally repeat back language. Now, in the ESL environment, we don't have enough time to just let that process happen naturally because we got to get the students, using the language as much as possible. But you'll notice that I'm doing it very actively. And what I'm trying to do is ask the longer, more challenging parts back to them so that they can answer with a yes or no question. So that it's not a heavy process for them. So I'll say, hey guys, where is the bee? And they might say bed. Then I'll recast back to them. Behind the bed? Yes. So they only have to say yes, but I'm giving them the language.
The recasting is important.
Use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's just one quick sort of tip, that the recasting also is good for online as well, just to make sure that you're doing that. But my tip is to recast back the longer sentences and allow them to answer yes or no, rather than making them say those long sentences, because I think it just gets a bit tiring. And that's it for me.
I just really quickly, and maybe maybe Marian has a question. I'll come in after that. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when you were saying giving them the choice, and if they have to say, I want to go to the store, then the chances are bigger that they'll drop the. But if you say the store or the park, then they're more likely to say it. So you've got to keep that.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
And, yeah.
That is ultimate level good tip. Like so isolating the language in a way that's natural is
and
very
authentic.
important.
Yeah, natural and authentic. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, don't use Tarzan English, which I see a lot in my new staff. Like, they'll come in and be like, dog, you like dog? Yes, no, you like good, no, doggy, good, right? So you'll see a lot of that, right? But isolate the language in a way that we would normally do it, as like you said, hey, so where do you want to go? The store? The park? Where do you want to go? Like, that is still very natural, but it's isolating it down. And so, you know, Marion, you isolated it down to the store. And so what that does is it's like, you know, you be aware of what you want them to focus on. So the first word in the chunk is the one that they'll likely stick with. So the choice of the store, the park, where do you want to go? Come on, tell me. Then that'll let them sort of start with the, so they're very aware of it, and then it'll be sort of something that will stick a lot easier. So that was like massively ultimate level top 10 tip. Well, so
And
love it.
when you're getting into writing, and you've got things like, say, they've got a bunch of words and you're going to order them, or they have to choose the words you said, then that can come in really naturally too, because, you know, you're saying something and they've got to, I don't know, I do it with magnetized words, and you know, when you're doing it in writing, then they get the it comes in, but you've got to, I totally agree, you've got to really be focused on it, but not trying to teach them grammar.
Yep.
Listen, I'm going to have to, let me just jump in for 1 second, because I have to begin getting ready for my next session. And you guys can continue to go. But one thing that we didn't really talk about, I probably should have prepared more materials for, is the topic of graded reading and graded listening. And you know, you know, graded reading and graded listening is a major part of a lot of classroom activities for me when we're face to face. But I had been, you know, with this particular project that Scott and I were working on, I was trying to think about how we could make a transition from this beautiful library of graded readers that we had for the face-to-face lessons to online. And I started experimenting with just using an iPhone camera and having somebody record me reading out loud. And then, you know, I actually started looking online, and I found that there's quite a lot of, you know, really interesting, well done graded readers and picture books done online. And I'm actually going to put one I just found, which is Michelle Obama reading reading one of the Dr. Seuss's out loud. But there's tons of this kind of stuff, and you know, the found materials are very well done and can be used. But I found it very easy to do myself as well. And I think that we can, there are ways to do read aloud graded readings, you know, in online lessons that are interesting for students. So that was just one other point that I wanted to throw out before I'm going to have to probably jump out before the session ends, but that was just one other point for discussion. Thank you for everybody. This is, you know, both, you know, Scott and Mary for great presentations, and for everybody for coming. And I'll just mute for now.
Okay. I'll show you this on the screen now. It's a little pad, and it has 1, 2, 3 on it. And so what we did was, I found that when we're using textbooks, it was really hard for me to see what they wrote in the textbooks, because of the you know, some of them had the virtual background and such, so it would just blank out their book. So what I did was, I took these pads, and they're A5 size, which is half of a regular A4 paper. And then I laminated these pads, sent them to all my students, and with a small whiteboard marker from Daiso. And so then they could, because they're laminated, they could easily write, easily erase, and then the letters were very big on my screen, so I could see what they wrote very easily. So I would, there you go. So I would demonstrate, sort of, hey guys, what is it? And of course they're asking me, you know, they're saying, it's a cat, it's a cat, it's a cat. Let's check and see. 3, 2, 1. Right, yay, it's a cat, good. Now let's all write, it's a cat. And then I would have the kids at home write on their pads, it's a cat. And then we would compare as we dare, and they would look at my screen, and they would just self-check what they've written. So I thought that was one thing that my me and my teachers all agreed was a huge, it was just huge, because we could see what they wrote more easily, and also our voices, we were, you know, talking online, we were starting to lose our voices, so having them doing something, some writing at home that's easy and not and easy for us to see was a big win for us in the online battle. So that was a good one there. So laminating some kind of pads, or even a you know, the yeah.
Yeah. So
Those, and what, Mary, are those just the whiteboard, the dice?
I went to like 10 different 100 yen stores, and I bought about 150 of these. And it was their present for the summer festival, and everybody got markers and this. And I left it where there's an empty space too, because I did choose a theme this summer of there is a lion, and actually it was way beyond that. Kids started coming back in June to the parks. So I started doing English in the parks, and I took all of my little animals and hid them around the park. And then we worked on phrases, and I took cards like you can see behind here. There is, there are, it, on, in, under, over, next to. And so they would go around, find the animals, and on their whiteboards, then write the sentence, there is a lion on the swing. There are 2 tigers under the slide. And so I was having them trying to write and practice that very difficult phrase, sentence pattern of there is and there are.
Did you write those lines yourself?
They're the tape you can get in the whiteboard, and you just zing, and so they're little kind of rubbery lines.
Is everybody there?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's so many things that we've all done to continue the education of our students. That is, and continues to be, the #1 thing for all of us school owners or teachers of children, especially the young children. And so I've only touched on a small amount of the stuff I've done through the time. And so, Jose, should we answer some questions, or should we just finish?
Let me just double check. Sorry, I was troubleshooting something else. There are no questions. No, there are no raised hands in the participants list. And I did not, oh, there's Marian.
Marian has a question actually for Jose. It's about what you were sharing the other day, and you told me that Mary was doing something similar. Really interested in what you were talking about in terms of working with children.
Certainly.
Can you say something on that?
I know exactly. Jose, she's talking about your system, then I've adapted.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I want to know about that, because it looked good to me.
Okay. Call me in when you need me.
Okay. So that was one of the things on my paper here I did want to talk about. Let's get me pinned again. Okay, so I've gone to so many OTJ presentations and Jose's classes to me, because I learned so much. And one of these was his, you had a video of the kids. What did you call it, Jose? I forgot.
Structure, control, and verbal classrooms, SCVC.
Yes. And so I saw that. And anytime I've gone to a presentation at JALT, my mind is working. How can I take that activity and adjust it to my students' situation? And so what I did is, this activity is where they're asking structured questions. And so, for instance, my students' textbook was working with clothing, okay? They're working with clothing. And the question, what is she wearing? What is he wearing? What are you wearing? So what I did is I started out, I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing red shirt. I'm wearing a green shirt. I'm wearing a green shirt. What are you wearing? Well, I had to, of course, because it's online, put in the students' names, because every student's view is different. So it would be like, I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing a green shirt. I'm wearing a green shirt. Jose, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing a blue shirt. 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 Adam, what color shirt are you wearing?
I'm wearing a maroon shirt. 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 John Hildy,
Okay,
what
one
color
thing
shirt
that
are
people
you?
aren't doing, and Jose didn't do it either, is the student says 2 or 3 times what they're doing, and then they have to change one word from it. So that's why I said, I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm wearing a green shirt. I'm wearing a green shirt.
Oh,
and
sorry.
So it has to change. And that is actually a very hard thing. And the kids are going, but I'm not wearing that. It doesn't work. You're going to change it.
Thank you for
Yeah.
correcting me. Yeah, I'm the guy that's usually the one to explain people that's you're doing it wrong, and I did it wrong because my brain is in like on 2 different. I'm sorry, Mary. Thank you for correcting me. You're right. You're right. You're
And
right.
so I started using that in class. Now, because it's kids, we're talking 4th, 5th graders I started this with, I took the whiteboard and I actually had to write out the sentences, because when I tried to explain, you say it 2 or 3 times and switch object, and these kids were going, huh, what? And so I just typed out once and they got to see it. Oh, 1, 2, 3, same thing 3 times, change. And then what are you wearing? What are you wearing? Yeah.
Just for everyone else, this basic exercise, I put a YouTube playlist in the chat, so please feel free to watch it. But it is not a playlist that was done as a demonstration class with little kids. It's done from university students. And even with these university students, I actually don't teach the gerundial form of verbs, just because I don't want them to keep that in their heads because they're mistaught it in junior high school and high school. So I keep it down to the present tense, I like. And it's much easier to come up with words that you like. So you go with I like TV, I like TV, I like TV, I like TV, I like baseball, I like baseball, I like baseball. Mary, do you like baseball?
I like baseball, I like baseball, I like baseball, I like soccer, I like soccer, I like soccer. Marian, do you like soccer? Marian.
You're muted, Marian.
Yeah.
You like being muted, Marian?
I like being muted. I like being muted. I like being muted.
Well, there you guys go. And
do you like
Mary,
being muted?
Do you do this in pair work, Mary, in breakout rooms, or do you do this all in the big?
I have, but not 2, because then it would, it would be finished. I've gone into breakout rooms with 4, and again, having to say the name at the beginning was an important adjustment I did. Also, just practicing the sentence pattern that is in their textbook.
Yeah, and before we go to Teresa, I also want to point out to everyone that you do not just throw them in breakout rooms and say, okay, guys, do it. If you just show it, you have to demonstrate it with somebody, just as Mary was demonstrating it with me, and maybe demonstrate it with a couple of other kids if it's a large enough class, to show them that even randomly selected, that anybody can do this. It also helps my university students if I show them an actual outline, a slide with the 2 sentences and with the underlined space where they're supposed to put in the word to exchange it. Visual cues, as Alex Burke says, plus demonstrations with the students, and say, okay, now everybody okay, now go ahead and do it. Also, going straight to I like baseball, I like TV is a bit of a jump for my university students. I don't know about Mary's kids. Mary's kids might be smarter than my university students.
They're kids, they're quite adaptable.
Yeah, exactly. So you can start from very lower levels. Teresa?
Hi, Scott. Scott, this question is for you. I know you have a very big conversation school. In the Zoom kids lessons, how many students in one class of 1 hour or 50 minutes?
Well,
Mary, you can answer that question too if you want, after Scott.
Yeah, we took a risk, and we just went with just the regular class. We were doing up to 8 kids per class, And we even had one class a few times that it got up to about 10. And that was about 10 kindergarten kids. So I don't, you know, I don't, it's, I think I'd need a few more months of practice with the technical side and then and just experience doing this to as well as it does live. But we did when we came back to regular lessons, I was a bit worried that we would lose some ground, but the kids, yeah, the repetitiveness of the online content was yeah, it stuck. So I think it was okay. I would prefer less, but we did 8 and it seemed to be okay.
Yeah. For me, I'm kind of like Scott. A lot depended on my size of my classroom here. And so I started a class with 12 4th, 5th, 6th graders studying ACAN 4 level in April. And 1 week later, we went to Zoom. And so here I have 12 kids, and I just had one of my Japanese assistants come in. So it was 2 teachers teaching through Zoom. And so whenever I did breakout rooms, I'd say, okay, Kurumi sensei, you take A group and I want you to practice on these certain things. B group, I want you to go in and I want you to do basic, I want you to do this. C group, I'm going to be with you. And so I was the mastermind, and somebody wrote up there, is my energy, all of this takes a lot of energy. Well, when we went on to Zoom, I actually had to divide because of mother's schedule. I had a class that was 8 on Zoom ended up being 3 classes because of the mother's ability to get their cell phones started and to get them signed up. So when it was at the worst, I had over 35 Zoom lessons a week without university classes. Okay. And I just found out 8 o'clock 2 days ago, university's on Zoom again. Yes. That's going to be such a energy saver for me.
Yeah, 35 lessons is a lot, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've gone into some of the Friday night sessions, kind of a zombie myself, but yeah, the Friday night sessions were so important for me to hear English, to be just relax. Even though I don't drink, I just needed the interaction of real life, of real people.
Adults.
And
Adults.
Yeah. No, yeah. Unfortunately, there weren't any adults at that meeting.
No. So.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
The later the evening went, the less they acted like adults too.
But
yeah.
I have a question about that session. Jose, do you put people into breakout rooms during the drinking session?
Yeah, that's actually that's a feature, not a bug. People get to go and mingle in groups of 3 or 4, depending, and get a chance to have smaller conversations that you can't have in a great big conference room full of 30 drunks.
Yeah.
And I would like to, if I may make a plug for the, sorry, Scott, OTJ Social, and it is tonight. I can't believe it. We are at the end of the OTJ summer sessions, and we will have our weekly 8 p.m. Sorry, I'm supposed to call it a social event where some people may drink. And I would like to see all of you there, because it would be a great celebration. At least for me, the beer is going to taste really, really good, especially good at the end of this week. And I would like all of you there, just so then we can share each other's company.
Yeah.
Can I address the comment about energy, Teresa?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to hear what you do. You use a lot of energy, I see.
So the for the energy thing, I did obviously with you guys, you know, this is a sprint, you know, doing this with you guys. So I can just blast out as much energy as I want, and that maybe makes you think like, oh wow, is he like this like the whole time? And so when you want to take breaks, when you're doing your lessons, you want to be you know, a little slightly more animated, so that the kids can feel it through the computer. But when you but I kind of schedule in like quote unquote psychological break times. And what I do is I play tag, question tag. So I'll say, okay, Teresa, how are you? You're it. Bum, how are you? And then, yep. And so then she has to say, how are you, Mary? How are you, Marion? And she has to say the name of a student. So that'll get you about a 2-minute break, passing it around. Kids will pass it around the screen.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
those kind of things.
Sorry, Scott. Sorry, everyone. I've got to sort of butt in here. The way that